When the schedule was suddenly shifted due to an unexpected delay, the atmosphere behind the scenes changed as well. Everything seemed normal on the surface, but small details began to catch attention. Unusual movements, timelines that didn't sync with the other members. And from there, the story began to take shape. Fans initially thought it was just a coincidence. After all, schedule delays are nothing new in the entertainment world. But this time, something felt more personal. It was as if a space had been created, a space that wasn't planned, but utilized in an unexpected way. After the concert, most of the members followed the standard route, returning to the hotel, resting, or attending other activities. But these two individuals seemed to take a different path. It wasn't flashy, it wasn't obvious, but enough to raise questions. Brief footage began to emerge on social media. Short clips, random camera angles, seemingly insignificant moments, but when put together, they created a narrative that made fans stop and think. There was a pattern. There was a closeness that couldn't be ignored. One of the most talked about moments was how they remained at the same distance, even when there was no professional reason to do so. No official cameras, no choreography, but there was still synchronization. Beneath it all, Japan was a unique setting. Bustling cities, glittering neon lights, and vibrant nightlife. Yet amidst all the hustle and bustle, there were quiet moments that felt even more meaningful. Some fans noticed how they seemed more relaxed than usual, laughing without pressure, moving without rushing. It was as if the time delay had given them something they rarely get: space to be themselves. Small interactions began to be analyzed in depth. Brief glances, almost imperceptible hand gestures. Even the way they stood side by side became the subject of lengthy discussions. Was this just habit? Or was there something deeper? What made it all the more intriguing was the fact that there was no official confirmation, no statement, no explanation, just fragments of moments left to speak for themselves. Over time, this narrative grew into something bigger. No longer mere speculation, but a phenomenon. Fans are beginning to connect the previously disconnected dots. Some even call it hidden time, a brief period not designed for the public, but instead highlighted by its naturalness. No script, no setting, just a moment. On the other hand, others prefer to see it simply: two people who happen to spend time together due to unexpected circumstances. Nothing more, nothing less. But that's precisely where the mystery lies. Because the simpler something seems, the more likely it is to have a hidden meaning. Japan, with all its beauty and bustle, is a silent witness to this story. A setting that doesn't take sides, but holds each moment silently. And when everything returns to routine, when schedules return to normal, and when the stage lights come back on as usual, that moment doesn't disappear. It lives on, preserved in memories and recordings. Fans continue to return to those clips, trying to find new details, something they might have missed, something that could explain what really happened. But to this day, the answer remains the same. No one really knows. There were only interpretations, assumptions, and feelings that were difficult to describe in words. Maybe it wasn't something that needed to be explained. Maybe it was just a moment that happened, without intent, without planning, yet it left such a powerful impression. Or maybe, precisely because it wasn't planned, it was more honest than anything ever presented on stage. And that's where it all gets interesting. Because amidst the spotlights, the busy schedule, and the public's expectations, there was one piece of time that felt different. A time that wasn't meant to be seen, but which is the hardest to forget. As time passed, small details that were previously considered trivial began to take on greater significance. Meticulous fans rewatched each recording, slowing down each movement, trying to capture something hidden in the passing seconds. There was one moment where the two seemed to be walking unhurriedly, as if untethered from their usually tight schedule. There was no manager by their side, no visible pressure, just a synchronized gait, as if they were in a small world separate from the surrounding crowd. Some began to wonder if the postponement of the concert had been an accidental opportunity, a gap in their routine that gave them a moment to pause from all the demands and expectations. Interestingly, there was no attempt to hide their togetherness, but neither was there any attempt to emphasize it. It all felt natural, as if it were just a part of everyday life that happened to be caught on camera. More and more perspectives emerged. Some saw it as a long-standing closeness. Others dismissed it as a coincidence magnified by fans' imaginations. And in all of this, the truth remained a gray area. But one thing that's hard to deny is how these moments evoke such powerful emotions. Not just curiosity, but also warmth, a feeling that there's something genuine behind it all. While the outside world continues to move quickly, that moment in Japan feels like a slowed-down slice of time. A pause that allows space for something that can't be explained logically but can be felt. Even after it's all over, the story lives on. It's talked about, analyzed, and remembered. It's as if the time never truly ended, but merely stopped at a point and continues to replay itself in memory. And perhaps that's why this secret time is so memorable. Not because of what's obvious, but because of what's felt between the tiny cracks, something never spoken, yet powerful enough to keep everyone asking. Was it just a coincidence, or is there a story yet to be fully revealed? And as the story unfolds, more and more people begin to realize that it's not just the big moments that leave a mark. It's the small, almost invisible things that are hardest to forget. A brief smile, a pause in conversation, or the way someone turns their head for no apparent reason. There's another clip that initially went unnoticed, but then resurfaced and became a topic of conversation. There's nothing particularly striking about the clip. There's no dramatic action, but its simplicity makes many feel there's something deeper behind it. But the more they pieced it together, the clearer it became that not everything could be explained logically. There's an intangible emotional element, something only those who truly pay attention can understand. Amidst all this, there are also voices who choose to remain neutral. They see it all as part of a natural dynamic, without the need to assign excessive meaning. And perhaps that perspective isn't entirely wrong, because sometimes we see what we want to see, we feel what we want to believe. And in a world full of interpretation, the line between reality and perception becomes increasingly thin. Yet, there's an inexplicable allure to that moment. It's as if an honesty emerges spontaneously, something that can't be engineered or planned in advance. What was initially perceived as a distraction turns into something precious. A small gap that opens up possibilities, revealing a side rarely seen behind the glittering screen. And perhaps, in the end, it's not about whether anything actually happened, but about how that moment managed to leave so many people feeling the same way, a sense of curiosity, warmth, and a hint of mystery that lingers, even after it's over. As time passes, the intensity of the discussion may gradually subside, but its traces never truly disappear. Every now and then, old video footage resurfaces, bringing back that same feeling, as if that time hadn't completely passed. There's something unique about the way that moment endures. It doesn't need clarification or justification to live on. Precisely because there's no definitive answer, the story continues to have room for reinterpretation by anyone who sees it. And that's where its power lies, in the uncertainty that makes it feel real. Because not everything needs to be explained to have meaning. Sometimes, what's most memorable is what's never said. Ultimately, that secret time became more than just a fleeting event in Japan. It transformed into a collective memory, a story that lives on among those who witnessed it, quietly, slowly, but never truly lost.